Thank you, Provost, for your very gracious introduction and warm welcome. I only wish you had omitted the year that I graduated from St. Peter's. Of course, at that time it was St. Peter's College, not St. Peter's University. And then the college grew, and it is today St. Peter's University, one of the finest institutions of higher learning in our state. So we're thrilled to be back here, and this time I brought my wife with me, Nadine. Nadine, say hello to everybody. I wanted to let her know what I was doing in the Hudson room here when I was back at the college. So in any event, we're thrilled to have her here with us. And of course, the very distinguished ambassador from the Republic of Ecuador, Ambassador Vaki, who is an extraordinary advocate for Ecuador and the US-Ecuador relationship. So, Ambassador, thank you for traveling. You were in Miami. It's great to be back at my alma mater to celebrate your sesquicentennial anniversary. Ginger, thank you for helping us. And the Guarini Institute, former Congressman Guarini, who I succeeded in the House of Representatives, is the institute is named after him, and I know he very much cared about international affairs. I gather that applications from prospective students to St. Peter's University has gone up, thanks to the success of the Peacocks in the NCAA tournament. And in my view, they are the greatest men's college basketball team in America. And so we salute them as we had the opportunity to be here when the community at large saluted them. Para mí es un placer estar aquí de nuevo en la Universidad de St. Peter's, donde me gradué hace tiempecito atrás. Ojalá que el Provost no hubiera dicho del año, pero bueno, lo digo y ya sabemos que queda tiempo. Pero la verdad, en serio, es un momento muy importante. La universidad está cumpliendo 150 años de su existencia. Y una de las mejores universidades para muchos estudiantes latinos, y para muchos estudiantes que son primeros en su familia y la universidad. Esta universidad ha sido la puerta de oportunidad para tanto. Así que es un momento muy importante para tener este encuentro aquí en celebración de esos 150 años y también en celebración de una comunidad que ha sido tan pujante en nuestro estado, la comunidad ecuatoriana que se encuentra aquí en New Jersey, de la cual tenemos tantas distinguidas personas de la comunidad. Y obviamente le damos la calurosa bienvenida a la embajadora Vaki de la República de Ecuador. La embajadora es uno de los anfitriones más fuertes de la relación entre los Estados Unidos y Ecuador. Y cuando ella te llama, nadie dice que no. Lo digo porque mis colegas me lo han dicho. Así que, so let me take a moment to salute the incredible Ecuadorian community of New Jersey, many who are here today, many who have achieved prominence in business, in social endeavors, and even in government. And we appreciate their service to our state and to our nation. To foster a sense of community and keep the pride of Ecuadorian heritage and culture alive, you've seen parades down Ferry Street in Newark. To keep the neighborhood parks over in Belleville clean, you volunteered your free time to clean up the environment. To assist the Spanish-speaking merchants, you process Small Business Administration loans and COVID-19 grants. To help each other, you coordinated health seminars, tax and worker safety seminars, how to confront domestic violence, how to navigate immigration laws. So let me offer a big round of applause to all of your efforts, not only to strengthen the Ecuadorian diaspora community, but also the bond between the United States of America and the Republic of Ecuador. Felicidades. I also want to acknowledge our panel that we're going to have a roundtable discussion. There's leaders in different sectors of the Ecuadorian community, and we appreciate them being with us as well. As part of this effort, I am proud to be the author of important bipartisan legislation. If passed, and it will pass to the Senate, My legislation will be a great step forward in our relationship with Ecuador. It will be a great step forward in advancing the democratic principles and values for which our nation shares. Son los principios, los valores que compartimos con Ecuador que me promueven ser el autor de esta legislación. And it would be a great step forward for Ecuadorians and Americans everywhere. So today I want to speak to you about the US Ecuador Partnership Act of 2021. Ecuador is a key democratic partner with the United States in the Western Hemisphere. In no small part, this is in thanks to the strides made by President Lasso and his predecessor, President Moreno, to restore democratic norms and governance after a decade of populism and frictions in the bilateral relationship. Every country of the world faces challenges in this day and age. Ecuador is no different. Some of you are here today who have many friends and family back in Ecuador. That makes the challenges Ecuador faces personal because they impact your loved ones. After a devastating pandemic, and in light of growing security and environmental challenges, the people of Ecuador today face very pressing challenges. The US Ecuador Partnership Act works to address these issues in three specific areas I'd like to highlight. First is economic development. Even as Ecuador works to improve the lives of its citizens, many indigenous, Afro-Ecuadorian, and rural communities struggle with poverty. And the heavy economic toll of the COVID pandemic has compounded this issue. Cranes building luxury apartment towers designed by world-renowned architects dot the Quito skyline. Imported sports cars drive the streets. Glassy shopping centers with designer labels and stylish boutiques welcome well-off clients. And those are all good. But in the rural parts of the country, inequality is stark, life is harder, cinder block buildings without windows, unfinished roads, and makeshift farm fields. That's why my legislation emphasizes the need for a strong, inclusive economic recovery and sustainable development. It not only calls for strengthening commercial and economic ties between the United States and Ecuador, it calls for programs targeting the communities that would benefit the most. This means increasing financing opportunities for small and medium-sized businesses. It means increasing access to digital infrastructure and digitized government services. And it includes support for development plans that would reduce these communities' vulnerability to criminal networks. So rather than fearing extortion or violence on the deserted stretch of highway, it will be safe to travel on remote roads throughout the entire country. Secondly, fostering security is another area the US Ecuador Partnership Act works to address. Ecuador faces challenges to the rule of law, transnational criminal organizations, and narcotic traffickers, illicit economic activity in the forestry, mining, and fishing sector, and the threat posed by actors undermining democratic principles and values with the spread of disinformation and propaganda. Added to this, there has been a concerning increase in gang-related violence in Ecuador, particularly in the country's prisons, where severely deadly riots left more than 300 people dead in 2021. And so it's critical that we support the important work that President Lasso is doing to tackle Ecuador's ongoing security challenges. And the US Ecuador Partnership Act does just that, advancing efforts to strengthen Ecuador's justice systems and law enforcement authorities. It includes assistance to prevent criminals from breaking the law with impunity. It protects vulnerable populations from human rights violations. And it addresses major challenges in Ecuador's penitentiary system, which struggles with gang violence. The law will also deal with emerging security threats by strengthening Ecuador's abilities to address cyber attacks and cyber crimes. And it also works to make sure the government is supported and has the tools it needs to keep its data secure from breaches or hacks by cyber criminals. And finally, there is the issue of the environment. Ecuador is a leader illegal on environmental conservation. As a matter of fact, the ambassador just came back from having the Green Awards in Miami and be there representing Ecuador in recognition of that. President Lasso opened the COP26 summit and in his speech announced that Ecuador would be doubling the size of the Galapagos Marine Reserve. And he has followed through on that promise. Ecuador is a country that boasts some of the most incredible natural beauty anywhere in the world. Beaches, forests, waterfalls, mountains, volcanoes. It is home to some of the Earth's most biodiverse ecosystems, like the Galapagos Islands, the headwaters of the Amazon River, and the Yasuni Biosphere Reserve. Yet many challenges remain. Criminal groups engage in illegal mining. They use heavy machinery and explosives that destroy watersheds and wetlands. Timber mafias cut down trees illegally, leading to deforestation in an attempt to source materials like balsa wood, mahogany, or cedar. And when it comes to illegal fishing, it's not just the crews who turn the transponders off their boats and go dark to avoid detection. Satellite data has revealed that China's fishing fleet has been illegally fishing in the Eastern Pacific, including the Galapagos Marine Reserve. The boats have gone dark for days at a time, undermining the security of Ecuador's biodiversity in these waters. My bill ensures strong support for Ecuador's environmental conservation and stewardship efforts. It strengthens programs to promote the participation of indigenous communities in environmental processes. It helps improve water quality and reforestation efforts, and it supports initiatives to address illegal deforestation, mining, and fishing. The legislation also authorizes the transfers of 2 United States Coast Guard cutters to Ecuador to assist in protecting the Galapagos Marine Reserve. Their presence will help deter illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. And at the same time, the transfer of these cutters will also strengthen Ecuador's capacity to ensure maritime security, combat drug trafficking, and counter China's fishing fleet in the region. These are just some of the elements of the law. So today, at the corner of Quincy Street and Central Avenue in Passaic, you will find the yellow, blue, and red colors of the Ecuadorian flag alongside the stars and stripes of the American flag. Not long ago, this intersection was officially designated Ecuadorian Square. This is not only an acknowledgement of the important contributions of New Jersey's Ecuadorian community, it stands as a symbol of what we can do when we work together. As the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, I have the responsibility from the Senate's perspective of looking at the entire world. And while, yes, we are focused on the atrocities that Russia is committing in Ukraine, we are concerned about Iran trying to achieve a nuclear weapon. We look at our own hemisphere and what has happened where 5 million Venezuelans have fled because of the Maduro regime. We see the challenges of Kim Jong-un in North Korea having nuclear weapons and firing missiles in the region. And of course, the single biggest geostrategic challenge the United States has, which is China in so many dimensions. But in the midst of all of that, we want to honor, recognize, and reward those countries that are committed to the basic fundamental principles of democracy, human rights, the rule of law, institutions, open markets, and that's what Ecuador is in these times under President Lasso. So I was successful in moving the US Ecuador Partnership Act through the committee, through the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. It got voted out already on a bipartisan basis, and some of you may recognize doing anything on a bipartisan basis these days are a little difficult. Así que Ecuador nos une en el Senado, demócratas y republicanos, es algo bueno, porque hoy en día es muy difícil tener algo, temas bipartidarios que son importantes, pero en este caso el comité, los que auspician la ley, aparte de mí, son demócratas y republicanos. Pasó por el comité en una forma un poco muy bueno, en una forma bilateral y esperamos resolverlo en el Senado en poco tiempo. Hoy regresamos con un proceso y en poco tiempo esperamos pasarlo por el Senado. It was the first time in history that the United States Congress considered a bill focused exclusively on strengthening U.S. Ecuadorian relations. Now I'm pushing for full approval by the entire Senate, and I'm optimistic. Last year, the Senate passed my bipartisan resolution dedicated solely to the United States' close relationship with Ecuador, and it passed with the support of 100 United States senators. So for those of you living in New Jersey, we need to keep pressing forward. To those confronting challenges 3,000 miles away in Ecuador, know that you have our support. And to everyone who cares about the bonds between our two countries, speak up. Speak up. Because if we work together, and if we stand together for the democratic principles that we share, our partnership in the coming decades will be prosperous and full of potential. No hay límite a lo que nuestra relación entre los Estados Unidos y Ecuador puede realizar para nuestros dos países y como fuentes de luz para el resto del hemisferio. Muchísimas gracias. I'm honored to bring to the podium an attorney, a diplomat, someone who is very well known for her time as the Ecuadorian Minister of Industries and Productivity and the President of the Andean Parliament. She is Ecuador's former ambassador to Qatar and current ambassador to the United States. And when she is not promoting the relationships between our two countries and taking care of Ecuadorian-Americans and their families back in Ecuador, she is an artist, a painter, and has so many other qualities. She and my wife both served that they have Lebanese background, so they got along very well together when they met and created a strong bond. As I said earlier, she has come to be known in Washington as when you get an invitation or a request for Ambassador Baki, you don't say no. Cuando la embajadora te llama en Washington, tiene la reputación de que no se le puede decir que no. Porque tiene la capacidad, el intelecto, pero también es tan amable que es muy difícil decirle que no. Damas y caballeros, dale la bienvenida a nuestra embajadora, la embajadora Ivonne.